The rhythmic hiss of the oxygen mask is the only conversation I have left. Hiss, breathe, hiss, breathe. On the bedside table sits my watch, a masterpiece of Swiss engineering, encased in 18-karat gold and studded with diamonds that catch the dim light of the heart monitor. It is a beautiful object. It cost me more than most people earn in a lifetime. And yet, as I watch the second-hand sweep across the dial, I realize its true cruelty. It measures the very thing it cannot give me back. Every tick sounds like a hammer against a nail. I am surrounded by the finest medicine money can buy. The private suite, the specialized doctors, the silence that only wealth can afford. But as I lie here, I realize that death is the only businessman who doesn't take bribes. I have spent 50 years negotiating contracts, winning mergers, and crushing competitors. I have outmaneuvered the best minds in the world. But today, I am trying to negotiate with the shadows in the corner of the room. Just one day, I whisper into the plastic mask. My voice is a ghost of what it used to be. Take the buildings, take the stocks, take the offshore accounts. Just give me 24 hours of borrowed time. Let me go back to before the greed, before the hustle, before I traded my soul for a seat at the head of a table that is now empty. The clock doesn't pause. It doesn't negotiate. It just keeps counting down. And for the first time in my life, I understand the ultimate irony. I spent my entire life trying to save time by working faster, only to realize I have saved nothing at all. The hiss of the oxygen mask begins to fade, replaced by a silence so heavy it feels like the ocean. The hospital walls dissolve into a vast, shimmering void. Time doesn't feel like a river here. It feels like an anchor. Suddenly, there is a presence. Not a monster, not a shadow, but a stillness that feels older than the stars. I've been waiting for you, I stammer, my hands reaching into the void as if I could still grab my checkbook. Listen to me. I have assets. I have gold. I have keys to cities. I will sign it all over. Just give me one more year. 6 months, please. I'm not ready to close this book yet. A voice resonates, not in my ears, but in my soul. It is cold, like the wind over a grave. Your gold has no weight here, it whispers. In this place, your bank statements are just dry leaves. Your titles are just whispers in a storm. You spent your life collecting things that stay behind, while neglecting the only thing you could have brought with you. I fall to my knees. The arrogance of the boardroom is gone. I am just a frightened child in a tailored suit. I didn't know. I sob. I thought I was winning. Please, give me a chance to see what I missed. One more day. Not for the business, not for the money. Just one day to find what I lost. The silence stretches for an eternity. One day, the presence echoes. 24 hours of borrowed light. But remember, old man, you cannot spend it on yourself. You cannot go back to your office. You can only go back to where your heart died before your body did. Choose your path wisely. At sunset, the debt must be paid. The light returns. The room is still dark, but my heart is beating with a frantic, borrowed rhythm. I have 24 hours, and for the first time in 60 years, I know exactly what I need to do. The machines are still beeping, but the weight in my chest has lifted. I rip the sensors from my skin. The doctors rush in, their faces masks of professional panic. They tell me I'm unstable. They tell me I'm dying. I tell them I've never been more alive. I walk out of that hospital in my silk pajamas and an overcoat, my footsteps echoing through the sterile marble lobby. My driver is waiting at the entrance, his hand already on the door of the armored sedan. He assumes we are going to the headquarters. He thinks I have one last merger to sign, one last rival to crush before the light goes out. My lawyers are already on the phone, their voices frantic, talking about tax havens, inheritance structures, and the continuity of the empire. They think I want to protect my money. They don't realize I'm trying to save my soul, Drive, I command. To the office, sir? He asks, looking at me through the rearview mirror. No, I say, and for the first time in decades, my voice doesn't sound like a CEO. It sounds like a boy. Drive away from the skyscrapers. Drive until the concrete turns to dirt and the glass turns to trees. Drive until we reach the place where I started, before I became someone I didn't recognize. As we speed past the city, the tall buildings, my monuments of success, begin to shrink in the distance. My phone is buzzing incessantly in my pocket. I roll down the window and let the wind catch the device. It hits the asphalt and shatters into 1,000 useless pieces of plastic and silicone. The world thinks I am going to write my will. They think I am going to decide who gets the cars and the mansions. But you can't bequeath a sunrise. You can't leave a sunset in a trust fund. I'm not going back to the bank. I'm going back to the only place where I was ever truly rich, a small crumbling house with a porch that creaks and a mother who used to wait for me with nothing but a smile and a warm piece of bread. I have 18 hours left, and the road is finally calling me home. The car stops. The tires crunch on dry gravel, a sound I haven't heard in 40 years. I step out, and the air here is different. It doesn't smell like air conditioning or expensive cologne. It smells of damp earth, wood smoke, and the coming rain. It smells like memory. Before me stands the house. It's smaller than I remembered, much smaller. The paint is peeling like sunburned skin, and the porch leans tiredly to one side. This is the place I spent my life trying to escape. I hated the cracked walls. I hated the way the roof leaked when it stormed. I thought success meant moving as far away from this dirt as possible. But as I walk up the wooden steps, each creak feels like a greeting. I close my eyes, and suddenly, I'm 10 years old again. I can almost smell the yeast and the flour. I can see my mother standing by the old iron stove, her apron dusted with white, her hands scarred from years of labor, but her eyes are always full of peace. She didn't have a diamond watch. She had a sun-faded clock on the wall that barely worked, but she always had time. Time to listen to my dreams. Time to tell me stories. Time to tear off a piece of warm, freshly baked bread and give it to me with a smile that made me feel like the king of the world. I did it, Ma, I whispered to the empty hallway. I became the man I said I'd be. I bought the world, but the silence of the house answers me back. The world I bought is cold. The bread she gave me for free was warmer than any 5-course meal I've ever eaten in a skyscraper. I traded the smell of this kitchen for the smell of a boardroom. I traded the soil beneath my fingernails for the gold on my wrists. I sit on the floor of my old bedroom. The dust motes dance in a shaft of golden afternoon light. For the first time in my life, I don't feel the need to check my pulse or look at the time. I realize now that my mother was the richest person I ever knew, not because of what she owned, but because she knew that the only thing you truly own is the moment you are in. The sun is starting to dip. The shadows are stretching across the wooden floor like long, reaching fingers. My borrowed day is fading, and for the first time, I am not afraid. The sky is bleeding into shades of deep violet and bruised orange. The sun, that great golden coin I spent 78 years trying to hoard, is finally slipping below the horizon. My borrowed 24 hours are down to the final minutes. I can feel the weight returning to my limbs, the slow, heavy pull of the earth. But the panic is gone. The screaming need for more has finally fallen silent. I walk back to the porch and sit on the top step, resting my back against the weathered wood. My expensive watch is still on my wrist, but I don't look at it. I don't need to. I can feel the rhythm of the world now, the way the shadows breathe, the way the night air cools. I think of my office, my buildings, and my bank accounts. From here, they look like toys left behind in a sandbox. I realize now that I wasn't building a kingdom. I was building a cage. And it took a trip back to this crumbling porch to finally find the key. I close my eyes. I don't think about the deals I closed or the competitors I defeated. I think about the taste of that imaginary bread. I think about the smell of the rain on this dirt. I think about the peace in my mother's eyes. The debt is due. The presence is here again, standing at the edge of the porch, not as a thief, but as a guide. I'm ready, I whisper. We spend our lives running, thinking that the man with the most gold at the end wins the race. But as the darkness gathers, the truth becomes clear. The wealthiest person is not the one who collected the most coins, but the one who collected the most sunsets. The one who understood that time isn't a resource to be managed, but a gift to be tasted. Don't wait until your final hour to ask for a borrowed day. Live the one you have right now. Because in the end, a life well lived is the only currency that matters.